Hey guys, it's Friday. It's finally Friday. So it is Friday. I start my journey tomorrow. I will do it on iMovie chronologically so that I can just give it to you when I get back. So I do start my journey tomorrow, and I'll give it all to you when I'm finished. Sort of a journey, I guess. Maybe not a journey. But somebody sent me this story here. I'm going to do an editorial on it. Now, the reason I'm not saying who sent it, I don't know if they want me to call them out or say this person sent it to me. But thank you for this story, the person who sent it to me. And we're going to do this one. We're going to talk about Westminster, Colorado. Westminster police are being sued for something. And we're going to go through. You'll know by the end what everything is. It'll all come together. But I looked at Westminster on Google. I was looking to see how many excessive force complaints they have, how many abuse complaints, what's going on there. Westminster, Colorado is where Eric Brandt got arrested for trying to speak at the city meeting. Remember that? The city council meeting. And he won a lawsuit. He won $12,000 in his lawsuit. And I don't know if it's been paid or not. I'm going to put a link to 3 stories in the description box below. Down below, there will be 3 links for you to read different stories about this area. The Eric Brandt story is in the description box below. And but as I was going to say, I don't know if they paid it or not yet. But in that story, they said Westminster, the city, was on the hook for the $150,000 legal fees that Eric Brandt had. So $150,000 in legal fees. He won $12,000. I hope they paid his legal fees. If not, he didn't win. He lost $138,000. So I don't know, man, but Westminster is where Eric Brandt won his lawsuit. Westminster, there's also a link below. Westminster and Aurora, they were talking about how 10 people were shot over the summer in Westminster and Aurora, the summer of 2018. This is one of them that we're going to be covering here around that time frame. They were talking about 10 people were shot in Aurora and Westminster, Colorado, just over the summer of 2018. And in that story, I didn't read the whole thing. I was just skimming through it. But they mentioned that over the last couple of years, 2017, 18, 19 people were shot in Aurora, Denver, and Westminster. So, I don't know, Denver cops, man, they just, I don't know, what is it, shoot first, ask questions later? I don't know. But we're going to go through this one here. I was reading it, and it's some questions I got. Now, just as a preface, I know I'm going to get some cop supporters or some bootlickers or boot shiners that are going to go, well, you cops, you just hate cops, and you're dead, blah, blah, blah. You know what? All I'm doing here is raising questions. I have some questions. This isn't against the police. We're not attacking the police. I'm not saying the police or this or that or the other. I'm just giving you the information here. And there are some questions that I have here. I'm going to raise some questions here. Don't get all pissed off and think I'm coming against the cops. I'm just asking questions here. I'm just raising questions. I'm just saying there's some question. That's questionable. That's all I'm saying. But people get so offended, these bootlickers and these boot shiners that love cops that go, did you see you hate cops? Why? Because we question them? Because we question what they did? Because we question what happened? All of a sudden we hate them? No, we're questioning. And if you can't answer it, that's what happens. They can't answer our questions, so they go, you hate cops, man, because you don't have the answers either. But you're so in love with law enforcement that you can't see through the corruption and the dirt and the lack of integrity that some law enforcement officers have, that you think all cops, you probably think those Twinsburg cops that let the Cleveland captain go home, you probably think they're shining stars too, huh? They're shining stars. No, they're fucking assholes. They let a captain who was drunk driving go home with his wife with no charges. They're not shining stars. They're assholes. But their chief is stroking their buttholes. Look how cute they are. No. They should be on a 30-day unpaid suspension. Now, I'm sorry that I'm upset. I'm sorry if you guys are upset by this, but it has to be said to all of those people that will watch this video and support cops so much that you get all upset when we raise questions. Because I get it all the time. I get people that comment on my videos, and it's almost like they're upset, and they're like, well, you don't understand. The cops, and they start supporting they start justifying civil rights violations and corruption. And it's like, what the hell are you thinking? Not all cops are shining stars. Not all cops are corrupt, bad, or lack integrity. I believe there are some law enforcement officers out there that really, in their heart and soul, are trying to make a difference in their community. They're trying to do good. But they're stuck in an occupation where if you snitch, you end up in a ditch or get made the bitch. It's just hard to, but they're trying. I believe they're trying to make a difference. It's just that you got these corrupt, corrupt law enforcement officers that lack integrity, lack ethics, that think, well, I have a badge, I have power, I can make money, and I can push people around. And they end up pushing the would-be good cops around too, and they just say, fuck it, and they give up, and they become bad cops. I think that's what happens sometimes. But what I'm trying to say to all those people that are going to give me flack on this video, they're not always good. Let's just say that. I'm kind of beating it into the ground here. But we need to get to our story here, and you're going to understand what I'm talking about. Enough rambling, right? Hopefully you guys are still watching. Go into the Denver channel. Thank you, the Denver channel, ABC, Denver channel, for this story. The family of a man shot and killed by Westminster police officers has filed a lawsuit against the city. Timmy Henley was shot 11 times by 2 officers in September 2018 after neighbors complained he broke into their apartments, was holding a knife, and told them people were trying to kill him. The lawsuit claims officers used excessive force while Henley was having an emotional disturbance. Officers were first called to 3496 West 97th Avenue around 10 a.m. that morning. Henley was jumping on top of a vehicle and complaining dogs were after him. There were no dogs. An officer talked him down, and Henley told officers he had taken some cocaine which he felt may have been laced and that he must have been hallucinating. Paramedics responded and treated him on the scene, and according to an independent investigation, Henley was oriented to time, place, and location, and thus was released. The lawsuit asserts that officers should have taken Henley to the hospital or placed him on a mental health hold. Around 3 hours after the first call, Westminster police were called again after residents of a nearby apartment complex, the Environ Apartments, reported Henley was armed with a knife and breaking into units at the complex. Westminster police said when the officers arrived, Henley charged at them with a knife, prompting an officer to fire his weapon. After the first officer fired, Henley fell to the ground and the officer ordered the suspect to remain on the floor, according to an independent investigation. However, Henley got back up and continued to move toward the officers, this is what they're saying, and was shot at by the first officer and a second officer, and eventually fell to the ground and rolled into the parking lot, the investigation concluded. But the lawsuit claims the only knife found at the scene was on the floor inside an apartment. Neighbors say the scene left them uncomfortable. One neighbor, Sandra Schaefer, said, "I didn't notice anything by his body, but the report said he had a knife, but I didn't see anything hanging around." The lawsuit questions why the Westminster Police Department does not use body cameras and cites 8 other cases where Westminster officers were sued for excessive force in recent years. Attorneys claim the same officer who responded to the first call during the day was one of the officers who shot Henley, and the officer knew Henley was hallucinating. Schaefer said, unfortunately, they didn't do anything, bring him to the hospital. I think that could have prevented a lot. Westminster Police wouldn't comment on the lawsuit, but did say the officers involved were cleared by an independent justification. Oh, they said investigation, sorry. And the district attorney, I'll read that again. Westminster Police wouldn't comment on the lawsuit, but did say the officers involved were cleared by an independent investigation. Independent investigation justification, and the district attorney. You know who the district attorney supports, right? Cops. The family is seeking damages for loss of life. Now, of course, the DA cleared them because the DA doesn't want any problems with the cops. But there's some questions that are raised here. Like one, they said the only knife they found was on the floor inside of an apartment, but apparently he was charging them with the knife. But even the neighbor said, I didn't see a knife. But apparently the cops somehow saw one. Maybe the cop that first went there that shot him later was hallucinating and thought he saw a knife. But this isn't the first time that officers have shot somebody and claimed they had a weapon. Stephen, his last name escapes me, Sacramento, California, has a cell phone in his hand. His back is turned. And in the video, you see the cop at a corner of the building, and he's behind the building, and he comes out and goes, drop it, gun, bang. Or he said, gun, bang, bang. Drop it, bang, bang. I forget the words there. I'm sorry. I didn't think I was going to talk about that. But it was just that quick. It wasn't like he didn't give him time to throw it down. His back was turned. He was shot. Even they said when they did an autopsy on him that he was shot in the back, holding a cell phone. But cops are so quick to pull that trigger. Oh my God, I was scared. Then you should probably be in another occupation because you don't have the intestinal fortitude or the testicular fortitude to be a cop. Sorry, I got distracted, guys. Engine 551 is Medic Engine 551 is responding to a call outside there somewhere. But, you know, these cops are so quick to shoot sometimes, and then they go, well, we got to justify it. How are we going to justify it? I know, we'll write the report up this way. And I know there are law enforcement officers who are going to watch this video that go, man, come on, dude. You know, that happens all the time. How many editorials have I done over the last year and a half of officers that have lied on reports? That where they find out, well, that's not really what happened. Where a camera shows something else happened that one was in the police report. And I'm always going to go back to DeKalb County, Georgia. Well, he grabbed my gun and he was going for me and he grabbed a hold of me. And then the video showed the naked vet that had no weapons was about 6 feet from him when he got shot. But he told his partner, he grabbed me and I feared for my life and I had to back up and I shot him. But when the video came out, he was shot from 6 feet away, naked and unarmed. Happens all the time because they go, we got to justify this. How are we going to justify it? I tell you what, write this. You know why a lot of times, and this is why a lot of times, I'm not going to say every time, that would be dumb to say every single situation, but in a lot of cases, do you know why cops get together? They got somebody arrested. They're going to put them in the back of the car, or they're talking to somebody who's detained, and 3 or 4 cops get together. Do you know why? So they can talk about it. What are we going to get this guy on? We can get him on this and this. Yeah. Why don't we get him on this? Write it up this way. Okay. We'll do that. We'll do that. Yeah, that's what they're doing. And that's what this lawsuit alleges here in Westminster, Colorado. I'm sorry this was so long. I couldn't make it short. This is one that really we have to talk about. But there are some questions in this story that arise. I want you to comment on it in the comment section below. He fell to the ground and rolled into the parking lot. I would like to know where he fell on the ground that he rolled. Did he fall by the parking lot and roll into the parking lot, or did he fall and then roll, dick, roll, right into the park? Because that wouldn't make sense to me. And why is there only one knife? It was inside the apartment, not inside his hand. There's some questions there, guys, and we want to know. In fact, they were saying in another story, I think it was the Denver Post, that even in the investigation, they notated that, yeah, there was a knife found inside the apartment. But no knife was found around him. I don't know. Now, I didn't give you the Denver Post one because when I was trying to pull it up to read it for you guys, I kept getting this pop-up that when you hit it, it takes you to another story. And I just said, fuck it, I gave up. So sorry, Denver Post, but you guys need to fix your website so we can read your news stories without having to subscribe. Community Leo Watch, thank you guys for watching. This is something we need to talk about here. Let me know in the comment section below what questions you have, what you want to talk about, and I will let you in on my journey as I take off tomorrow morning. I'm going to go get coffee. Have a great weekend. Thank you for sending me this story, and let's talk about it.